my name is Clyde Gamble with the U.S. Military Veteran Family Resource Center here located at 1305 Tennessee Street in Vallejo. And we're here to educate you on the various benefits that veterans may have due to them by serving in the armed forces of the United States of America. And the different type of benefits we are here to educate you on, and it depends on the time that you served in the military. In most cases, we are educating veterans from World War II to Korean conflict, Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraqi wars, and any Cold Wars in between. One of the reasons that we started this particular mission is because of the many veterans that we've seen throughout the country as I travel, living on the street, in prison, that was not aware of all of the benefits that they could have applied for through Department of Veterans Affairs. And as an advocate for veterans, I felt that even after serving, after 39 years, I believe in not leaving no veteran nor their family or orphans behind. And so tonight, this evening, I would like to discuss with you and educate you on some of the benefits that they are entitled to according to the U.S. Code, Title 38. Veterans who have served in combat and came home and they found themselves fatigued and they had no place to go for help. They didn't realize that there was benefits that they could have put in for to help relieve some of the problems that existed in their home, community, and nation. And so there was many veterans that came home from the service, and the families not realizing the seriousness of combat, and a lot of families themselves have to deal with these issues on their own because they did not know that they could receive help from the Department of Veterans Affairs. In a lot of cases, these injuries were also relating to physical violence, service members getting involved in gangs on the street, which they will either end up in prison or probably in the grave. And so seeing this as a retired military soldier and also retiring from Department of Corrections, where I've seen many veterans incarcerated, I felt that I had to do something to get our community and state and nation turned around. And so 18 years ago, my wife and I took on this mission of trying to educate communities, pastors, ministers all over the nation, and especially here in California, where we reside. One of the most encouraging things is that we found out that a lot of the veterans that were on the street was not aware of all the benefits that they could have put in for, such as, one thing I'm always asked a question about is mortuary services, whether or not the husband or wife both can be buried in the National Cemetery. Well, I always send them to Title 38 and let them review what does the regulation say about a veteran who served 1 day during the war period. If a veteran served 1 day or 90 days during the war period, leading up to 90 days, I believe there's after research Title 38 again on that. But they are entitled, both of them are both and have the right to be buried in a national cemetery anywhere in the country. That was one of the things, because there were so many veterans after the spouse or the husband or wife, whoever served in the military, after they deceased, they didn't know how they was going to pay for their services, not realizing that the veteran was in the military during combat, not physically in combat, but enjoying combat. And they didn't realize that they could apply for benefits by going to the mortuary and telling them that the husband or wife was a veteran and they would like for them to be buried in the National Cemetery. That was one of the things that I looked at. And the second thing was removing trained veterans from our streets. We had so many homeless veterans that was living on the street, and many of them was involved in gang activities. And the only way that I found that we could remove them veterans was to get them either as they came out of prison or before they got in trouble, and get them into a rehabilitation program, which they have down in Menlo Park. I found that this was very important, because if you got a trained veteran on the street, there's one or two things going to happen. Either he's going to enter into the prison system or he's going to hurt someone very seriously out there, if not kill him, because of the fact that he has been trained. And so I want to remove him from that element and help him to reclaim his dignity as well as integrity, revive his spirit, and restore him as a tax-paying citizen in his community, state, and nation. And I felt that that was very necessary in order for us to turn our communities around. And then after the veteran is rehabilitated, we can send him back into his community to help those that he have left behind and help the people that he was involved with turn their life around. And I feel that if one person can help another person and that person can help another person, we are on our way to changing things in our community. Thirdly, I would like to talk about this evening is we have a lot of spouses of deceased veterans. That could be a veteran that was a female or a male who served in the military, who had injuries that was aggravated by military service and did not realize that they could apply for benefits, and also health care. A lot of veterans don't realize that there's a difference between health care and benefits. Health care is where you put in a 1010 easy and bring over your DD form 214, and you can go to any outpatient, VA outpatient clinic, whether it's Martinez, Mare Island, or in Oakland or Sacramento, and you can apply for health care benefits if you do not have any. And at the same time, if you have injuries that are still aggravating you, you can go over to Mare Island or any outpatient clinic, wherever there is a VSO, a veteran service rep, and you can apply for benefits, whether it's pension or whether it's compensation. And that all depends on whether or not you have an injury that is aggravated by military service. So many people think that you have to be retired in order to apply for benefits from the military. But if you have any injuries that have occurred to you while you were serving in the military, whether you sprained the ankle, or you fell down, or you came up with some type of various disease while serving in the armed forces, you have a right to go down to apply for benefits. And what they would do at the VSO, they will fill out either a 21526, that's the form that they would use for you to apply for your benefits, as well as a VA form 2122, I believe it is, that will give the VSO the power of attorney to represent you in your claim that you submit to the Veterans Administration. There are so many veterans today, they are so discouraged because sometimes the claims get turned down and they think that it's the end of the road. Well, just because your claim get turned down, it does not mean that it's the end of the road. It's just the beginning of the appeal process. And there's at least 4 to 5 different appeal processes before you exhaust your whole system. And I always tell veterans that make sure that you submit all your information in the beginning to any of the VSO, whether it's at Mare Island dealing with AMVETS, VFW, CDVA, the Purple Heart Association, or any other organization. I like dealing with the American veterans because there's always someone there in the office that can answer the veterans, whether female or male or orphans, questions. And so therefore I send a lot of veterans over to AMVETS at Mare Island to talk to Robert Call, who is a service officer for AMVETS, to help explain to the veterans and the spouses all of the benefits that they may be entitled to. I hate to use that word entitled because it seems like it's a giveaway, but none of this stuff is a giveaway. If a veteran has served in the military 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and how many months or years, he deserved to get whatever is coming to him. And this is one of the things I encourage the veterans to do. Don't become frustrated. And so many of our veterans are frustrated with the system. Once you educate the veterans on the system, the best that you can, on how Department of Veteran Affairs work, it makes it a little bit more easier. Because of both wars going on right now, Department of Veteran Affairs is overloaded, and I believe that it's over, the Oakland Regional Office probably have over 30,000 cases that is backlogged. And so we got to understand that we're going to have a little bit of patience and give these men and women that work for these agencies time enough to get your claim processed and to get information back to you at a decent time. Since the new Secretary of the Veterans Affairs has came aboard, I think that they have done a great job. They're working, the people at these various regional offices throughout the country, my understanding, even Saturday and Sunday, trying to help get a lot of these veterans cases processed. So one of the things I would ask you, don't become impatient. The second thing I want to talk to you about is there are so many spouses whose husband has deceased, and they don't realize that they can apply for either a pension or DIC, which is indemnity compensation. It relies on a certain amount of information that you need to submit to the Department of Veterans Affairs. You need to get all your information, such as your his DD-214, if it's a veteran, if it's a male veteran or female veteran, DD-214. You need to get a copy of the marriage certificate. You need to get a copy of the death certificate. You need to get a copy of the funeral cost, whatever the mortuary cost is, and you need to take it down to your nearest VSO. Again, like I said, whether it's Mare Island, Sacramento, Oakland Regional Office on Clay Street. And you need to apply for either pension or compensation. And the last thing I would like to talk about this evening is that we have so many veterans that have left the military from World War II, Korea War, and Vietnam, and even the Iraqi War and the Afghanistan War, whose discharges need to be upgraded. We have so many veterans that is out here, they don't realize that if they got a other than honorable, that can be upgraded at the nearest Oakland Regional Office. It all depends on the criteria. But if they have an undesirable discharge, which was done away with a long time ago, most of the undesirable discharge was sent to all of the local regional office based on the regulations that I have read. There's many types of discharges that a veteran can receive. He can receive an honorable, a dishonorable, a other than honorable, a general under honorable conditions. And there's many who come out to service and they don't think that they can recover after receiving anything less than an honorable discharge. And I'm here to tell them that most veterans, cases that I've helped them submit, can have their discharges upgraded at least 2 years after they come out of military service. Some earlier than that if there are circumstances that warrants that veteran to want to submit information that is very critical for the reason why he was discharged from the service. We have found out that there were a lot of discharges that veterans had received that was not administered properly. And that is from World War II, the Korean conflict, Vietnam, and some Afghanistan and Iraqi War veterans. And as a retired first sergeant, I have a pretty good idea on some of the administrative actions that can be taken on a soldier when discharged from the service. One of the things that I have found out is that some of these soldiers who left the military did not receive the proper due process according to the Uniform Code of Military Justice. And so when I review a discharge and I begin to review that veteran's paperwork on why he received such a discharge and look at the separation codes as well as the re-enlistment code, sometimes these discharges really don't add up to what that veteran had really done before being discharged from military service. And so what we do, we help the veteran to appeal his discharge by submitting a DD-2-149 if he's been out the military over 15 years, or a DD form 263, I believe it is, 263 or 293, if he has been discharged less than 15 years out of the military service. And what we do, we help him prepare his paperwork and help him submit it. And in most cases, either the discharge is going to be upgraded or they will come back and saying, well, we're not going to upgrade you at this time, or they're not going to upgrade you, period. But at least you'll know that you got an avenue of appealing your discharge at least 2 years after leaving military service. Lastly, I would like to say that if we have veterans out there that is living on the street and that is homeless, and they need to go to their VSO, their Veteran Service Officer, and ask them questions about what they need to do as far as trying to get their discharges upgraded. And so I'd like to thank you for this moment, to be able to educate you on some of the benefits that you're entitled to under United States Code Title 38. God bless you and have a good day.